Important questions to start with. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am a coffee drinker. I didn't grow up a coffee drinker. It actually wasn't until I was an adult that I started drinking coffee, and that was mostly because of my wife. And so I'm not your normal coffee drinker that has to have coffee or a certain amount of coffee every day. I'm usually fine if I don't have it, but for me, it's more of a ritual now. So it's part of sitting down with my wife, and we usually every morning sit down and have a cup of coffee together, and it's a great way to start the day together. And so yeah, for me, it's more of that ritual of slowing down and enjoying something or company or something else. Yeah.
So that sounds like a very idyllic, peaceful thing, sitting down with your wife in the morning to have a cup of coffee. But I know that you have six children under the age of 13, and you run a business with, 40 employees. And so how does that work?
Yeah, good question. Not very often, but well, I say it works. Just doesn't maybe work as peacefully as it sounded when I said it. But we do pretty much every day do that. If we're in a good routine and we're up early before the kids get up, then that's the best way to do it. Where we can greet them as they start the day. But more often than not, probably they're the ones waking us up, or they're up early running around the house. So it's a little more hectic, but we still manage to do it. We try to have breakfast as a family. Now that the kids are a little older, some of them can make their own breakfast, and so that's nice.
Awesome.
And you can sit down and enjoy yours and a cup of coffee.
What about food? What is your favorite food?
Favorite food. So I like a lot of different kinds of foods. I think the food I love the best is the stuff when you prepare it yourself. So whatever that is, and especially if you've grown it yourself or raised it yourself, which we try to do a little bit in our house. And there's just a different level of gratitude and enjoyment. It always tastes better if you grow it yourself and you put the work in, of course. And I think um, the cultural dimension of food is always really interesting to me. So I think there's a tendency today to reduce it to just the nutrition into my body or the calories I need or something that makes my mouth happy. But I think including the cultural dimension of it and the occasion you might be having it for, the preparation that goes into it, and inspires like a really healthy gratitude and appreciation for it that I love. So that's the food I love best.
Now, you mentioned the growing it yourself, and I was rereading your book last night, and one of the things in your bio ends with Matthew, his wife, and their children hang their hats in Texas, where they aspire to be simple farmers and good neighbors. What is the extent of the farming?
Yeah, aspires is a key word there. It's a journey for sure. We've made quite a bit of progress since then, actually. So we've got lots of chickens, which we'll raise for meat and for eggs. We've got ducks, we've got pigs now, we've got beehives. We're putting in a fish pond and stocking that with fish right now, which is really exciting. So we do a lot of vegetable gardening as well. So it's in sort of fits and starts sometimes, like getting it going. And there's seasons where it's great, and there's seasons where life gets busy with the kids or work and things like that. So we're trying to gradually transition to where it's a more consistent part of our life. But we're doing a pretty good job now and really enjoy it.
What attracted you to that, or what is the ethos or philosophy behind that for you?
I guess I'm an idealist, and to me, farming is such an ideal kind of way to work. It provides for so many needs, but it's also a kind of work that is physically healthy, done in certain ways. Um, so you're not sitting in a desk all day and doing unhealthy activities. So it takes care of like your physical activity being healthy. You're raising healthy food. It inspires that kind of gratitude. It's work that you can do with your family, which I love. So much of what I do now, my work is at a computer in an office,
Yep.
and I love getting to work with my kids and with my wife and doing that together. And so farming and gardening is a really fun way to do that. You can do it across all different ages. Our 1-year-old's out toddling around chasing a chicken, and the 13-year-old's feeding pigs, and we're digging weeds in the garden or whatever. And it's something you can all do together. So I love that part of it. And I think I love being out in nature. There's something about, I love cities. I love technology. I have a technology company. But when you're surrounded by it all the time, you have this tendency to sort of say, "Oh, look how clever we are as humans." And when you're out in nature, it's a different response. It's one of just gratitude and awe and wonder at God, at the Creator. That's something I could never do, and there's just a it's a wonderful place to be, and I feel like spending more time out there has just been really good for our family, really good for our kids. Keeps us active. Use your hands to make things and do things, and so it's such a good balance, I think, to so many other parts of our lives, mine included, that is spent a lot of time on a computer or in an office or at a screen or things like that.
Got it. What about favorite movie?
Gladiator, for sure.
Gladiator.
Gladiators.
Russell Crowe, Great Australian.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's just I still think it's the best epic style film. And it's just got so many good themes to it. Of course, the what we do um, here echoes in eternity. You know, what we do in life echoes in eternity is just sort of great central message to it. But it's also a story of a farmer, which most people don't think about. It was the farmer who became a general, and a general who became a slave, and a slave who became a gladiator, and a gladiator who defied an emperor. But it was that it starts, with him already in battle as a general, but he was a farmer who left his life, his comfortable life, kind of like Bilbo, leaving in The Hobbit, where he's called out of his comfortable shire and, called to some great adventure that Providence has him on. And, it was similar here in his of course, a man of virtue, and he grows in virtue throughout the movie, but just so many good themes. And I like the power dynamics of sort of government and the mob rule. And you just see that full on display there, but it's applies to every social group, government, whatever it is, of the influence of the mob, but then the power to control the mob being, how you're able to gain power in so many different ways. So yeah, so many good elements to it. Still
Mm.
my favorite.